Record. There we go. um, so our local college access networks are cross-sector coalitions of leaders that collaborate to remove barriers and provide more support for student success. Second, we publish research and data on evidence-based practices and policy opportunities to strengthen Florida's talent pool. And third, FCAN leads 4 College Ready Florida initiatives that provide schools and community organizations free resources to help students continue their education after high school, which we're going to talk a little bit about today. Our work is guided by our 7 conditions for success, which you can learn a little more about on our website. Today's webinar provides great examples of many of these conditions, particularly opportunity for everyone, clear information and guidance, and community collaboration. Now, to get us started today, our newest initiative, Planet Florida, was started a couple of years ago, and it was created to ensure that every Florida student graduates high school with a college and career readiness plan. The aim is for students to develop their skills, learn more about their strengths, explore their interests and career options, and then learn about the education they will need after high school to achieve their goals. To help students build a plan for their future, Planet Florida shares the 4 E's framework, which is expose, explore, experiment, execute. Today's webinar is going to provide a great example of both expose and experiment. So with the expose stage, as one 5th grade teacher said to me years ago, students can't be what they can't see. So if they've never seen scientists working in a lab, they may not know to aspire to that as a future career. So expose is all about how can we in the early grades on help students get exposure to careers that they might not normally have heard of or have exposure to. The second E is explore. This is where we help students learn more about their strengths and interests through assessments and other tools that can help them begin to narrow down their potential career interests so that they can learn what education they need to earn those careers. In the third step, which is experiment, that's where we seek to give students the opportunity to begin to test whether the potential careers they think they're interested in are really right for them. That's where they want to dip their toe in and try it out. So through volunteering, a part-time job, internship, career academies, clubs are all great ways to help students do that. And finally, the 4th E is execute. So this is the final step, which typically happens in the senior year, although again, this model can work in post-secondary education as well. It's about putting their plan into action. So what education do they need to earn that future career, and what steps do they need to take, like filling out a college application or completing their FAFSA, et cetera. So there's lots of ways to help students gain exposure to potential future careers. And it's important that we help them do that because it really starts to connect the dots between their education and the future that they're hoping to earn. So at the high school level, this tends to look at things like part-time jobs, volunteering, internships, sometimes simulations and gaming or role playing. At the college level or post-secondary education level, it can look at things like field work or service learning or practicums, undergraduate research, clinical experiences, or even study abroad. One of the challenges, though, is we really want to ensure as many, if not most, students get an opportunity like this. So one of the critical things we're looking to do is how do we do it at scale? That's what the Miami-Dade team that is going to be sharing their summer internship initiatives with us is going to be sharing today. So we're super excited to learn from them. So we have a whole team of folks who are going to be sharing how they worked collaboratively to help over 3,000 Miami-Dade high school students earn internships. And what amazes me even more is even with the pandemic, which disrupted so many things, they were still able to help students connect with these real life experiences. So Garnett Esters, who's the program manager at the Children's Trust, is going to be introducing her partners in a minute. but we wanted to do a quick poll so that we can learn more about what you are hoping to learn today. So you can choose multiple answers here, but we want to get a sense from you after the next hour. What are you hoping to walk away from? So is it how to replicate something like this, how to form a similar partnership, how to take an existing program and scale it, how to fund something like this, or is it something else? And if it's something else, please put your answers in the Q&A so we can get a sense of what you're hoping to learn. So let's give you a couple of more seconds to vote here. Still getting a couple of votes. Okay, I think I'm going to close that out. Last voters. And here's the results. So it's across the board. You're looking to replicate the program, how to form a similar partnership, which we love to hear, how to take an existing program and scale it. Great to hear that you already have something working in your community that you want to take further, and how to fund it like this. So that's wonderful. Thanks for participating here. I'm going to stop sharing those results, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And with that, I am so excited to welcome Garnett and your wonderful team. The floor is yours, and we can't wait to learn from you all about how you made this happen. So Garnett, you are muted.
Good morning. You think I would know that by now after 18 months.
No worries, no worries.
Good morning. Thank you everyone for taking the time to come and learn about the Summer Youth Internship Collaborative that has been in existence since 2016. And I must say, in preparing for this webinar, I reviewed some of our documents from 6 years ago, and it made me chuckle because we have definitely come a long way. How did we get started? There was a will and a determination to have a summer youth internship program that had various components for the youth. The Children's Trust was one of the organizations that had the funding to do it, but we did not have all of the pieces of the puzzle to make a program. We had funding, but we needed other partners to be able to come to the table. We needed the expertise for someone to be able to implement the program. We needed the ability for someone to manage it administratively due to constraints that we had with some of our funding streams. So as a result, we had partners that came in, Career Source of South Florida, which is our workforce development arm. They contribute. Miami-Dade County, which is our local county government, who also makes a monetary contribution. They do the management and the contracting process in conjunction with the trust and Career Source. We have EdFed, our community, our financial institution. We needed to be able to find a place where these students could bank. And EdFed has been a phenomenal partner in helping our students to open their accounts. Miami-Dade County Public Schools, who actually does all the programmatic components of the program. They implement the program. They have the historical expertise to be able to do that because they had an academic year program and the program was expanded upon. And then we have the Foundation for New Education Initiatives, which is basically one of the administrative arms of the program. They pay our bills, they work with our participants to make sure that they get paid, they get their W-9s, they work with the staff. So everybody has a very distinct role and we all work collectively to make sure it happens. When we started this process 7 years ago, we didn't know if it would work, but we had the determination and the passion to see it through, and we had a collective skill set that continues to make it work. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our first partner, Career Source of South Florida, Travis Kelly.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Okay. Good
Yes,
afternoon,
Travis.
everybody.
Yep, you're
Thank you.
great.
I just wanted to make sure. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Career Source South Florida and our executive director, Mr. Rick Beasley, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you guys for participating in this webinar today and for giving us an opportunity to share with you how amazing it is to work with our community partners that we work with day in, day out, week in, week out, and year in, year out. I have to say that it's definitely an intensive process. During the regular year before the summer starts, we meet on a weekly basis, starting from about maybe February. And that's how we're able to make sure that we cross all our T's and dot all our I's, plan for any barriers or any kind of things that may inhibit the program. I really want to express to you guys how important it is, how vital it is to have your local workforce investment board at the table when you're talking about summer internships. Our workforce board, Career Source South Florida, ensures that we provide the support necessary, the support necessary as far as the administrative piece and as far as creating a private public partnership with the organizations that we work with. This also includes our employers. I have to forgive me, I talk with the retainer, sometimes I get caught up in my retainer. So if I can stress anything from this small introduction is that in creating any type of internship program or any kind of employment program for your kids, it's very important that you get your local workforce investment board at the table as one of your primary partners. Your local workforce investment boards are there to play a vital role in providing the services and support that every region needs in order to be successful and build a talented pool for our employers to choose from. We're very proud of the work that we've done. This is one of Mr. Beasley's a staple partnerships that he prioritizes every summer. And he's making a priority for us to be innovative and figuring out ways to help support the program. He supported it from day one, and from my indications, he will always support the program. And I'm here to make sure that his vision is carried out and that the vision of the program is carried out, and we work as effectively as possible. And just a little side note, we rarely have disagreements in our partnership. We all come to a consensus, and we're pretty much all on the same page. And I know it's difficult for a region of this size. Miami-Dade County is a very big county, and there's a lot of different perspectives, but when we bring them to the table, we always found some common ground, and that common ground is to better serve our kids in our community. And with that being said, once again, thank you guys for allowing me to be here today to represent Career Source South Florida and our executive director, Mr. Rick Beasley, in presenting to you what our role is and how important it is for every workforce board across the state to be a instrumental role in providing these type of opportunities for our kids. Thank you, guys.
Okay, now we'll have John Ice from Miami-Dade County. Take it away, John.
Hi, again, my name is John Ice, and I am the contract officer for Miami-Dade County between the county and really the school district that implements this program. So I don't want to eat up more time than I need to because they are the ones who really have the most valuable information. What I can say is that I think the important things that I've learned is that we have in the county, I've really have come to appreciate the importance of the partnerships. We have four rather large bureaucracies interacting with one another. And they are complicated bureaucracies with multiple departments, multiple players, and the importance of communication, collaboration, ongoing dialogue between the partners is vital, as well as just kind of a commitment to be flexible as challenges and as issues arise. Somebody once told me there's something called the ARF principle, and that means ARF, absolute rigid flexibility. And I've always kind of appreciated that spirit. The other thing is I think that if I were to provide advice or suggestions to pursue something like this, is to designate a single point of contact amongst the various players. When there are too many people in the mix, I think things get confusing, lines of communication break down, and it's easier to just kind of have single points of contact. Luckily this year, Miami-Dade is really increased its investment and its commitment to the Summer Youth Internship Program monetarily, significantly. But I would say, more important than money is coordination and collaboration. There is just being able to kind of fit those jigsaw puzzles together. You can do a lot more with the same amount of money. And so I think that that's something that we are seeking to constantly improve upon. And we're looking forward to continuing our success with the initiative. Thank you.
Okay, next I'll introduce Ann de las Posas from the Foundation for New Education Initiatives.
Unmute. Good afternoon, everybody. As Garnett mentioned, my name is Ann de las Posas, and I'm the Executive Director of the Foundation for New Education Initiatives, which is the Miami-Dade County Public Schools Foundation. And we serve here as the fiscal agent. So again, just to agree with what everybody else has said, the thing that has made this program so successful is all the partners' commitment to getting it done and getting along and having a good sense of humor as we plow through a lot of sometimes difficult things. So, and again, we've been at this partnership, how many years did you say, Garnett? 7 years, is that it? And so we're all know each other fairly well by now. Anyhow, I would just like to say, as the fiscal agent, the importance of making sure, again, my job is to make sure that all the documentation is in place, that everybody gets paid on time, and taking care of all those things that seem like boring, tracking the dollars, following every little penny, staying on top of all that stuff, making sure that the contracts are all, we're meeting all of the things that are required by the contract, and trying to stay on top of all those things. So again, I can't stress enough how important it is to, make sure that you're complying with everything and staying on top of stuff. And again, John and Garnett and Travis all said earlier about our communication. And again, we meet every single week for at least an hour on the phone to go over where we are and what we're doing. And we do that for probably a good 8 months out of the year for this 2-month program, 5-week program. So you can see the importance of the communication. So I just reiterate that, and not to take up any more time. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
And now I guess we're saving the best for last. Dr. Lupe Diaz from Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Miami-Dade County Public Schools implements the programmatic component, and her work has been phenomenal. The work of the Miami-Dade County Public School Systems in working with the kids. We're the paper pushers. We make sure everything happens, but what her team does is make sure that the kids have a positive experience. So go ahead, Lupe.
Thank you so much, Garnett, and thank you so much to WebCan for inviting us here today. And you hit the nail on the head. This is all team effort, internal and external. Every person who's just spoke earlier said it correctly, and that is single point of contact. We're the programmatic folks, but yet when it comes to communicating with all of the sponsors and so forth, we allow one person, and that's Ms. De Las Posas, who is the head of our foundation, to communicate on our behalf. But it's true, communication are critical. We meet every week. I tell my team, get your vitamins out and make sure you are all prepared, because during the summer, we do not take any vacations, by the way. The team of the Department of Career and Technical Education are the individuals responsible. We have been doing this for over 30 years, ladies and gentlemen, not only in our annual, yearly internships, but also summer internships. The large extent in working with our sponsors has taken place for the last 6 years, and we're going into our 7th year. So again, it takes a lot of effort, but the benefits far outweigh the time that we spend. And we actually, we thank ourselves, but also the fact that we have been able to support our students, our teachers, and this community with providing talent. And the goal is also to ensure that our students are well prepared for what they're going to face when they leave high school. We have a superintendent who believes that every student in this district should have an opportunity to experience an internship. And as was mentioned earlier, there are many formats for experiential learning, but there's nothing like that first internship or that first job. And I know that many of you on this call remember the time and remember that first job opportunity that you had. When this community can open the doors to thousands of students during the summer, it says volumes for the individuals, for our businesses, our partnerships, more importantly, our sponsors and major sponsors of this program. So again, thank you very, very much. And I guess, Garnett, at this time, can I move ahead and discuss the structural programmatic parts of the internship to give everyone on this call an opportunity to learn a little bit about how we operate. And at the same time, if you have any questions, I guess the chat will be open and we'll entertain a Q&A shortly thereafter.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Lupe.
All right. So first of all, let's talk about the impact of this past summer's internship program. We actually had a little over 2,300 students who completed the program with a 99% completion rate. These students who are enrolled in the program not only get the experience of what it's like to actually get up early in the morning in the summer, as well as complete assignments, but they also receive academic credit. We had 61 participating high schools. We had 2,819 students who actually applied. So you'll notice that there is a gap there between the number of students who applied and the number of students who actually completed, because they all did not necessarily all get hired. Again, we start, as you heard earlier, back around January or February, meeting every week. But we also start, it's a year-round process. It just doesn't start then for the program folks. We look at our satisfaction surveys, we look at what we need to actually enhance, and we start working, and we're starting to work now for our kickoff for next year already. Not only are they receiving, our students in this program, high school credit, but they also receive dual enrollment credit through Miami-Dade College. And for many of our students, this is the first opportunity for them to either actually earn the dual enrollment credit or give them an opportunity to actually enhance their portfolio, their transcripts, so that when they do start college or a career after high school, they're prepared. We had 655 companies, and as far as hours worked, close to 360,000 hours worked by our students in this program. There was $4 million invested this past summer. 74 of these students received dual enrollment college credit, and this is, by the way, academic dual enrollment. 75% of the students who were part of the program qualified for free and reduced lunch, and 26% of the students were youth with disabilities. Again, each one of the sponsors, and you'll see their names on each one of the slides here, They all have their own requirements based on their contracts and what has been agreed on. So it takes, and I believe it was Ann who mentioned she reviews the contracts. We all review the contracts. For example, the programmatic part, which is the scope of work actually is reviewed by the program staff in the Division of Academics with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And of course, attorneys on all sides review all of the contracts. I would love to say that it's a smooth process. Each year we learn, we have lessons that we learn, we enhance, we have different requirements, for example, and I'll go through some of those in just a few minutes. As far as internships, prior to the pandemic, all of our internships were on site, but as a result of having to pivot in 2020, we started remote internships and hybrid internships. So you'll see the results on this slide as far as the number of students who did remote, which was 15%. Most of them last summer were remote. 30% were hybrid, where some students reported to actually the organization several days a week and worked remotely the other part. And 54% of our students this past summer did on-site internships. We all know that there are benefits to doing on-site internships, but students have to acclimate to the realities of the future of work and how we're all working. As far as the components for the internship program, first of all, we do have what we call teacher champions. The teacher champions we rely on, it is a person identified by each one of our schools, by the leadership of the school, who will be that point of contact for students to actually apply for the program. These teacher champions are not remunerated, by the way, at least up through this past year. They are, again, identified and trained by this department, the Department of Career and Technical Education. We have various training sessions throughout the school year. We also rely on our collaborative portal for virtual training of these teachers. And we have materials that are published and part of our Microsoft Teams channel for these teacher champions. We also conduct parent, student, and employer orientations. In the past, they were all face-to-face. We have pivoted over to virtual orientations, and there are lots of benefits to that. We have quite a few of our folks and parents and students who actually come on, and they are a part of these virtual orientations. That is a requirement of the program. If they cannot connect with us on the particular day, we also have it in our YouTube channel, and we've done it through Facebook. We record these sessions, and you're able to see some of these orientations through our YouTube channel, and we'll have the QR code later on in the presentation. We do have pre-internship training of our interns online. We also conduct a kickoff. Our superintendent and many of our sponsors actually get on to welcome the students, wish them luck during their internship experience. Every one of our student interns is assigned to a teacher internship supervisor. We have hired anywhere from 60 to 75 teachers during the summer to work as internship supervisors. We firmly believe that a high quality internship program must be supervised not only by the worksite supervisor, but by a teacher. And remember that these students are also receiving academic credit. So there is a grade book involved, and they actually grade their weekly assignments that are turned into the assigned teacher supervisor. The teacher supervisors are assigned, by the way, geographically also, and they have certain loads per student based on whether they are ESE students or Gen Ed students. Again, the curriculum, it consists of weekly assignments that are turned in and culminates with a multimedia presentation at the end of the actual internship. We do have an online curriculum interface. We have a website that we use, a platform for pre-internship assignments and post-internship assignments. Also, I'm thrilled to be able to say that we've actually created our own website to match employers with students. It is miami.getmyinterns.org. It is a homegrown platform. It is available for others to actually use also. But the beauty of this particular one is that we enhance it every year. And how did this come about? It came about because we wanted to make sure that our employers knew where to go to solicit student interns, as well as to match student interns based on interest and company needs. All students are eligible, as I mentioned previously, for high school academic or dual enrollment credit if they qualify. All students are required to open a credit union account through EdFed, formerly known as the South Florida Educational Federal Credit Union. All students are required to have student accident insurance, and this is the insurance that they apply for during the school year, throughout the school year. Highly recommended, especially with all of our career academies and all of our extended classroom experiences that students actually take throughout the year, even though because of the pandemic they've been curtailed, but we actually do our student experiences extended even virtually in the past 2 years. Again, all of our students are assigned to a teacher internship supervisor as well as a worksite supervisor. Something that we don't discuss all of the time, but one of the benefits of having our students open a credit union, and thanks to our summer youth internship program institution, banking institution, which is EdFed, just to share with you that we opened it this past year 1,666 accounts. As of September, we have 6,279 students with accounts. The aggregate balance on these accounts is over close to $8 million. And just to share with you that our students are still saving money, the average account balance is a little over $1,000. And we all know, and we tell students ahead of time. And by the way, EdFed also conducts financial literacy seminars and workshops for our students. We also have 14 financial EdFed offices that are open at our schools. They're actually operated and managed by EdFed, but students actually get to do their internships as part of having the credit union located at these institutions, these high schools. Some considerations that are needed if an organization would be interested in replicating this program is, as we've mentioned, establish business relationships. We looked at previous internship hosts. We looked at advisory board members. Our advisory board members commit to either hiring or obtaining in-kind internship slots as part of being a member of our advisory boards. And of course, our community and business partners, as well as our institutions of higher learning. Who can be sponsors? Major corporations, municipalities. Our Miami-Dade County government is a huge sponsor of ours, major sponsor, as well as the Children's Trust, Workforce Development, Career Source South Florida, and of course our business partners. Some distance dynamics, some of the things that we've had to do to rely on technology, of course, is to present our virtual marketing seminars that we arrange with national and local partners for our student interns, as well as personal branding sessions that students actually underwent prior to the internship. We've hosted internship orientation seminars for our internship providers, our hosts. At those seminars, we share strategies for hosting a remote intern as well as management logistics. Our parent orientations have been held either in English, Spanish, and even in Creole. They've been attended by over 1,000 participants. This is the value of utilizing technology, which brings equity into the picture also. So we have students that are serviced from the southern end of the county to the northern end of the county. And of course, student orientations that have been held regarding deadlines, non-negotiables, and we want to make sure that they have a successful internship experience. As far as preparing for the program, again, our miami.getmyinterns.org platform is enhanced every year. We update the platform. We do create instructional and promotional videos. We have our own YouTube channel also where we actually post our videos. And we have an internship hotline that is staffed by personnel in this department. That is open year round, ladies and gentlemen. Preparing students for internships. I mentioned earlier, we have a pre-internship online course, which all students are required to actually go through. It is a non-credit course. It is managed by our teacher champions. It is very, very low intense as far as personnel. At the end of that pre-internship course, it actually provides a certificate. And then the students actually go through learning exactly what documentation they must obtain in order to qualify. All of these protocols are shared with all of the schools throughout the year so that everyone in the school is well informed, as well as through media channels. Progress monitoring for preparation of the program. Again, we start meeting early on with our sponsors on a regular basis. We train our teachers, we promote the program, we have the pre-internship course, and we have developed, as a result of the pandemic, strategies for hosting remote interns. And we actually go through these with our employers as well as with our student interns. What are some of the things that we did to pivot? We created contingency plans. Actually, these last 2 summers. The first summer we went through and hopefully did not have to use our 5th contingency plan, which was not to have the program at all. We were able to do this program to a large extent, serving over 2,000 students last summer, plus this past summer of 2021. Our materials, internal considerations, we had to pivot in the sense that we had to convert over to utilizing digital forms of documents, assigning and selecting our internship supervisors, not only and preparing them for project-based learning and actually leading projects that were done remotely. In other words, we selected these projects based on the various career themes that we have in this district. Again, utilizing technology and creating project templates. And I'm going through these a little fast, but one of these, and thanks to our partners with NAF, based out of New York, we have over 70 career academy programs that are NAF career academies. We actually utilize some of their information and tweaked it to meet the needs of this district, where we have a project plan for remote internships, where we actually go through this project plan, not only with the students, but also with the employers, giving them ideas for offering the ability to, for example, when an employer says, well, what do I do with the kid during the summer, especially if they're not coming to the site? Well, they can actually do a remote internship. That's the template. The next slide, which you'll get a copy of the slide presentation later on, actually goes through a sample. This particular one was to build an effective social media platform and online presence for a small business. So we actually use several examples with our potential employers. Post-internship, teacher supervisors document all facets of the internship online. We conduct ongoing audit reports. I did mention we do have satisfaction surveys. We actually do 3 of them. One satisfaction survey for the internship employer, which goes out during the 3rd week, one for students to get feedback from them, and one for our teacher supervisors. We have some resource links that are a part of this slide presentation that will be available to you. All of the materials are available to you. We do ask that if you use any of these, that you make them even better and share them with us again. So again, some of the things that we've had to do is share with our students tips for working remotely. And you'll see an example of this on the slides, as well as best practices for online interviews for our students. And here's an example of one of our handouts as to how they should prepare for an online interview. I love it when students say, well, Dr. Diaz, I got all dressed up and I had on my best suit and my interview was on the telephone. So again, low tech, some of our employers are using telephones, some of them are using Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and our students are pretty well familiar with these platforms. And also online tips for our employers on how to conduct an online interview. Again, it could be, it's tougher to present to a group of high school students. And for many of our employers, they may not have ever hired high school students for internships. I guess at this point, I've taken up my time, and I guess I'll turn it back over to Garnett and the team from FCAN to ask any questions or any questions from the audience via the chat. So,
Great.
Kathy,
Thanks.
it's all yours.
Thanks, Lupe. So amazing. And it really strikes me of y'all have thought of pretty much everything in terms of preparing them and helping them pivot. We're getting some great questions in the Q&A box. So folks, if you want to ask questions, please use the Q&A box, not the chat, in order to do so. So the first question, Lavanya asks, how are programs evaluated? So I don't know if that's your education foundation who's handling that part of it.
We have not done a formal evaluation, although the school system did do an evaluation previously, but we look at the existing data that we have. It hasn't been done by a third independent party. Our evaluations have been internal thus far, but that is how we stumbled upon the fact that about the bank account information, because we went back to look and see and evaluate what was going on with the kids, the numbers, etc. It is a long-term goal to do a external long-term evaluation, because now we're going into our 7th year. So we have 6 years of data. Some of the things that we would like to know is what happens when they graduate. Has this program had a long-term impact as we've intended it to have? So we're moving towards that progress as we grow and learn.
We do, just to add to that, we do, however, do surveys. So we survey employers always to find out whether or not they felt like this was a worthwhile endeavor for them, and whether or not they felt like our interns were doing a good job at their job sites, and were they prepared, and how well they worked over the summer. So we do get that feedback. And then we also do a survey with the teachers that participated and then with the students. So we do have that information available, as well as every single year programmatic audits from the funders. So we're audited financially and programmatically every year. So we make sure that we cover all those bases, and then we do the satisfaction surveys, which ask for additional questions. But Garnett is right that we're looking at doing some additional outside evaluation.
Great, thanks for sharing that. I know one of the questions that I've heard before, and Jan brings up again here with regards to this, is recruitment of employers. You know, as Lupe said, not every employer has had interns before or is prepared or knows how to host an intern. So how do you get businesses more comfortable with hosting interns, and then how do you help them, you know, prepare for their role in making it a successful internship?
Well, I certainly believe in continuous improvement, because I always feel that, you know, we could do a much better job of obtaining even more employers. But you'll notice with over 600 participating companies, and Miami's made up of many small businesses. So it takes speaking to these organizations, it takes the media, it takes our own advisory board members, it takes our own schools, our OJT employers. We tell employers that for many of our students who do an internship, you can keep them on for on-the-job training after the internship. And if you're looking for employees, why not give back to the community? The fact that we have major sponsors where they don't actually need to pay the employer, it's a good opportunity for them to determine whether it's a good fit. We do have, we utilize Groundhog Shadow Day as an activity in February, where companies open up the doors, and that's where they start actually looking at, well, this could be a potential intern and so on. So it's marketing, promoting your program year round, and utilizing, anytime I go to a store, I have my business card with me, or if I'm on the phone, and I always raise, hey, do you need a student intern? You know, well, we have a summer program over the summer, sending out postcards, keeping, in other words, you know, I'd love to say that this program is a household word that the whole community knows, but the word gets out there, especially with our own parents, and actually having our parents also as individuals who promote the program too.
I'd just like to add to that.
Sure.
Is that in year 7, we have learned that we need to pivot with our marketing and our community to our employers and to the community in general, because as the program grows, what we used to do is no longer effective. And I would also state that for the marketing and promotion component, you don't have to invest a lot of resources, but this is something that definitely needs resources added to it, because we're in the process of revisiting how we do that to be able to expand our reach and our audience.
Yeah, so that gets into the next question from Angelica, which is, are there typically enough internships available to all the students who are interested in participating?
This year we had a unique problem, and then I'll let Lupe take it from here. Because we had an influx of a substantial amount of cash about 30 days before it started, we did have, I think it was about maybe 700 vacant positions this year. And a lot of that had to do with the late influx of cash, the reluctance of students to want to work in person, because although remote interns are offered, sometimes there's just not simply enough to go around. But we were almost to the point in 2019 pre-pandemic where we were having a supply-demand issue. But I do anticipate that wonderful problem arising later.
Garnett, you did a great job answering that question, but we're also looking at what impact did this past summer have on the internship as far as students who, and it was very interesting where just like companies were having issues finding employees, we were also having issues with our students actually taking some of these positions. Is it because they had already obtained, let's say, a summer job and possibly even making more money? They weren't receiving academic credit, but I think as a result of what happened this summer, we need to do a better job of promoting the program to our quick serve establishments, for example, retail establishments, and letting them know that we have a workforce, a potential workforce for them that would be stable. And as long as they participate and meet the requirements as far as evaluating the student twice during the internship program. But it was a very interesting summer. It was a great question, by the way, and we're still looking at that.
Yeah, and one of the questions, relates to what we heard a lot through the pandemic, which was how did you address some of the technological barriers? If the students were doing their internship remotely, how did you handle the barriers to technology access, not only a computer per se, but also reliable internet access?
Thank you very much for that question, by the way, because I failed to actually mention that all of our students obtain a mobile laptop device from the school district. They turn them in at the end of the year. They have to be cleaned up and so forth, but any of the students who were doing the internships were able to keep those mobile devices. We also did ask, and we had questions in our application in reference to whether they had issues with internet, for example. We had hotspots that were actually provided to our students too. Or if they needed a particular software application that needed to be actually placed into the laptop. We actually did assist several of our students, especially if the mobile devices that were provided did not hold or have the storage capability to actually load the software program, such as Adobe Premiere Pro, for example, for those students that were in TV, film, and entertainment, where they utilize that software.
Thanks, Lupe. David is asking a question I love, which is always if you had to start from ground zero all over again. So for those folks who are hearing this wonderful opportunity and thinking, wow, I want to bring that here, what would be the first component of the program you would immediately address?
I'll take a jab at that. That's a hard question. I think that so this past summer, I think, was instructive insofar as you had hungry employers seeking a workforce, and they were willing to pay for it, much beyond what the summer youth internship stipend would pay. So our kids were actually at a financial disadvantage to say a company like Walgreens or Publix, who could pay kids to up to $15 an hour. I think our stipend comes to about $8.70 some odd cents an hour. And so, one of the things is that, I think our collaborative needs to think about being competitive, but also to think, those kids who are not part of our program theoretically could be part of our program if we kind of did a affirmative effort to reach out, engage those employers, and have them do the necessary things so that a youth who's being paid, say, by a Walgreens, could actually get school credit. And because any summer job that kind of meets the standards that we have is a benefit to that youth. And so I think it's kind of like we have those kids who are inside of our program, but then there's this whole universe of kids outside of our program who could benefit from our program if we kind of learned a way to kind of swoop them into the summer youth internship program. It's easy to say. I think it is a huge logistical challenge to do, but certainly this is a kind of thing that I think would really scale up our program in terms of its reach in a low cost way. And so it's something that we're kind of trying to get our hands around right now.
From my perspective, if we were starting over at the very beginning, there would be two things. Number one, this has to have a process where you have an internet electronic platform. This cannot be a paper-based process. It will bury you. So we didn't realize that initially. And if we could start, that would be the one thing. And number two is the ability to be able to, what worked for us is to have an organization that has the level of flexibility that the foundation has. That was a game changer for us. But there were things that we didn't realize. I would have, in addition to a electronic platform for the students, I would suggest that you try to also have some type of financial platform on the back end, especially if you have multiple funding streams and there are cost allocation requirements. Because if not, you're going to be doing that sorting in an Excel spreadsheet, and that makes it very complicated.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think thinking through the setup from the start, as you said earlier, we learn as we go, but in hindsight, how can we set up the systems from the beginning? We're getting low of time, and so Lupe, if you don't mind sharing your screen, I will share just a last couple of thoughts to help folks as we're wrapping up. As many of you had so many questions we didn't get to, and so we had Lupe and Garnett's email address and contact information on the last slide, so please feel free to reach out to them. I know there's a lot of interest in getting into some of the nitty-gritty of how to make some of this happen. Whoops, I guess I'm on the wrong screen here. Let me swap screens. There we go. So for those of you who would like to help your students begin to plan for their future, of which this is a component of it, I encourage you to go onto our website, onto the Planet Florida page of the initiative section of our website, where you can register your school. We have lots of free resources there, including this college and career readiness guide that you can download and print out and share with your students and families to help them prepare for their future. To ensure that you don't miss out on any other upcoming webinars, promising practices and policy briefs, I encourage you to subscribe to our e-list if you haven't already done so. And finally, I can't say enough thank yous to this wonderful team from Miami-Dade who are showing us what it can look like when we can help students to get that early exposure and work experience, and that can lay the foundation for their future, and do so where you can reach thousands of students instead of just 10, 20, 50. So with that, many thanks to all of you who joined in today. We are so happy you joined us, and have a great day. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care now.